Hey everyone, welcome back to another Mattel Hammond Collection review. Today we're taking a look at two figures, Robert Muldoon and the JP3 male Velociraptor. Hammond Collection is hitting pretty hard right now. We got these two figures right here. I just reviewed the Geosternbergia, the JP3 Ankylosaurus is out, Ray Arnold, and the Pachycephalosaurus. A lot of good variety out for the Hammond Collection. Usually, it's just a human and a small dino and like two medium-sized dinosaurs. So we're getting a little spoiled right now. And the reason we're probably getting spoiled because it is Jurassic Park's 30th anniversary this year. You can tell by the logos on the packaging. It's probably going to show up on every packaging of all the new figures coming out this year. Mattel wants every penny from us fans. But yeah, I end up getting these figures I'm finding Robert Muldoon on store shelves in Target. I actually did pick up Ray Arnold, but I'm not going to review him until I get my hands on a Pachycephalosaurus. And I think I'm the only one that actually bought Muldoon and Arnold at my Target. They had 8 on the shelf each, and there's still 7 sitting there. And I picked this figure up probably about 2 weeks ago. The male Velociraptor I ended up getting from Big Bad Toy Store. I also had it pre-ordered. Was it available for pre-order on Target? I don't know. These releases are really, really confusing. But anyways, I'll leave a link down below to Big Bad Toy Store if you want to pick up this figure. It is sold out. I'm sure more will be in stock soon. And before we crack these figures open, let's take a super quick look at the packaging. This is the standard Hammond Collection packaging we'll be seeing for all these small figures since the line came out. We got the Jurassic Park 30th anniversary logo up here, Hammond Collection logo down here, Robert Muldoon front and center. Here's a picture of the figure on the side of the box with the Jurassic Park logo. Back of the box, got another picture of the toy. A skilled hunter himself, Robert Muldoon, is no match for the clever Velociraptors at Jurassic Park. How true is that? And now for the JP3 Raptor, anniversary logo Hammond, blah, blah, blah. Here's a nice picture of the figure on the side of the box with the Jurassic Park 3 logo. We are getting spoiled with JP3 figures this year. I'm very excited about that. After an encounter on Isla Sorna leaves him trapped, the Velociraptor communicates with his pack by calling for help, and Dr. Alan Grant can't help but notice. So anyways, enough about the packaging. Let's crack these figures open and take a closer look. And there's just some quick assembly you have to do with the Velociraptor. You just have to swoop the tail in till you hear it click into place and rotate it. And once that's in, that is not coming out. And here is both figures of the packaging. I have to say, not bad. I really, really like Muldoon. Muldoon turned out absolutely fantastic. Much better than his Legacy Collection standard release that came out a few years ago. And he even has those super sexy thighs and calves. And it actually comes with a shotgun. We all remember the Amber Collection Muldoon did not come with a shotgun for whatever reason. I guess Mattel didn't like their 6-inch figures having guns, whatever. But yeah, he looks really, really good. JP2 Raptor, I like it. I do have a couple issues with it. I feel like it's a slight downgrade in the line. I feel like Mattel's getting a little cheap on paint apps once again, but it's a JP3 Raptor, and it's had a weird history in the Mattel line. We're supposed to get one way back in the day in the Legacy Collection. That got scrapped, and then they repainted the mold into something, I think it was like in Dino Rivals or whatever, and then we finally got one in the Amber Collection. That one actually turned out to be fantastic, and now we finally got one in the Hammond Collection. We're also getting the female Raptor to go along with it. It's a 2-pack with JP3 Alan Grant. It comes with the eggs and all that stuff, so we'll be able to recreate some scenes from the movie once that set releases. And now for some measurements. Muldoon is your standard 3 3/4 inch figure, or 9.3 centimeters, so he's 1/18 scale. Male Velociraptor is 8 inches long from the tip of the snout to the tip of the tail, or about 20 centimeters, and about 3.25 inches tall to the top of the head, or 8.25 centimeters. So the JP3 male Raptors are estimated between 9 and 12 feet long, or 3 to 4 meters. So I'll put this figure somewhere in the 113 to the 118 scale range. Now let's take a look at the Game Warden Robert Muldoon. I have to say, I think this is one of my favorite human figures released so far in the Hammond Collection. I think this is a great likeness, a very well done figure, lots of nice detail in there. Let's bring them all up close and take a look at that head sculpt, if my camera would like to focus in on that. Very nice likeness. One thing I don't like, they were a little heavy on like the gray on his stubble. They honestly could have left it out and it would have made a big deal. I just feel like too much attention is drawn to it. It's not so bad with the version with the hat, but the one without the hat, it's really, really noticeable. let's just pop his shotgun out of his hand and take a look at all the nice details. Vest is nicely done. You got some pockets, nice stitching on there. Open it up. You do have his park ID badge, which is a really, really nice touch, which is, pretty amazing on a figure this small. I expect something like that on the Amber Collection figures, but not these 3 3/4. So nice job, Mattel. And then his belt buckle is done in brown with a little hint of gold. He does have a wristwatch painted on, and he does have another, I guess it's a bracelet or something, on his other wrist. And there are those nice big sexy thighs and calves. You can see his shorts are nicely done. You got pockets on them. You got his high socks and boots. So all around a very, very nicely done figure. You even have a holster. Is that a gun or is it for a knife? Looks like it's for a gun. And you do get some alternate parts with this figure. You can pop his head off, and then stick on the hatless version. And you can see the hair is nicely done. The gray really, really stands out on this one, but still a really nice likeness. One thing I don't understand is they pulled off a removable hat with the San Diego Comic-Con Gennaro figure. Why can't they do that for the rest of the figures in the line? You don't need to make another alternate head. The hat can just pop off on and off, and I just feel like it's just a waste of plastic at this point. I'd rather get another accessory. Hey, but it is what it is. You get a couple different hands. You do get the open hand and the closed hand to hold the shotgun, and you also do get versions of those for the right and left hands. And you can just pop the shotgun right into his hand, and at least he can actually hold it this time, unlike the other one. You had to do a lot of finagling with the I'm not even about to try and here come and get frustrated. You had to do a lot of finagling with the old Legacy Collection release. So anyways, let's take a look at the shotgun. Really nicely done. You got the strap on it. I do wish the stock could unfold and collapse, but hey, it's a really, really small weapon. I'm asking for a little much here, and it can fit over his shoulder if you want to put it. Is that how it goes? I don't know. It seems like it's meant just to hang there. Or do I just put it over here? And whatever. If you play around with it, it probably would look a little bit better. But anyways, here is the old shotgun that came with the old Legacy Collection figure. The new one is definitely much, much better. And articulation, head can turn side to side. It's on a ball joint. Can look up a little bit, look down a little bit. Arms can rotate and swing out. Get a nice bend, 9-degree bend at the elbow. Rotation, wrist articulation, and rotation. You do get hip articulation. I do not like the hip articulation on the Hammond Collection. It's just really weird. It feels like a really poorly designed, G.I. Joe joint. You can do the full splits. Legs can kick back that far. Not that far. They smack into his butt. Nice double jointed knee with that joint. Love those joints. And then for the ankle, you do get rotation at the foot and up and down movement. And lastly, here he is with his old Legacy Collection release, and I think this Hammond Collection one is a vast, vast improvement. I don't say that about all the Hammond Collection human figures, but Muldoon right here definitely far surpasses this one. Now for the JP3 Raptor, I do like the figure. I definitely like it a lot better than the JP1 Raptor. I just think this is very bland with all the brown, and I always found the JP3 male Raptor very, very striking. Love the design on it, but I can't help but say I feel like the details on the face are really, really soft. The paint apps are really not that good. Mattel started doing this screened on technique with the Hammond Collection. They do it with the main line. It just looks, whatever machine they use to put the paint apps on, it comes out looking really pixelated and looks like it's almost out of focus. And you can see that on this Velociraptor. You can see all that pixelization in there. I guess that's a word. You got the red eye and the black pupil, but it just looks fuzzy and not sharp, and it really detracts from the figure. You got the nasal crest highlighted in a little bit of red, and you got the quills right here in the deck tipped with a little bit of white paint. You got a little white paint along the lips. Bottom jaw is cast in a cream colored plastic inside the mouth. You see the tongue is painted red. You got nice white teeth. Roof of the mouth also is painted red, and then going down to the neck, you got the white stripe that goes all the way down to about the midpoint of the tail. Going down the hands, the hand claws are painted. Same thing for the toe claws. Underside, you get that nice cream color. It goes down to about the base of the tail. And then for the hind legs, you get some striping, that cream color. They actually did add a little bit of red to the Raptor's ankles, which is movie accurate. They should also have it on the palms and the hands. I'm just glad they included some of it on this figure. Here's a view of the figure from the top. You got that white stripe, and the tip of the tail has a little bit of red paint. So yeah, all in all, I do like the figure. Like I said, I like it better than the JP1 Raptor. I just really don't like the paint apps on the face. I think Mattel could have done a much better job. I don't like how they're going to this mainline style with the higher end collector figures. It just makes the figures look really, really cheap. This is a $15 figure, and this looks like this paint app should be on one of the $8 figures. And for articulation, mouth can close completely flush. It can open up about that far, actually go up really far. You have rotation at this neck joint, some upward and downward movement at the neck, downward and upward movement, and 360 degrees. Arms can swing out. You have bend at the elbow and rotation. You get about 90 degrees at the elbow. No wrist articulation. I get why they don't do it, because those wrists are really thin and you'll probably end up breaking the joint. And then go down the hips, they do have some articulation to pop in and out to help with stability. They can move forwards and backwards. You get a nice bend at that knee joint and rotation. Same thing with the ankle joint, downwards and upwards movement and rotation and tilt. Tail up, down, side to side. It can rotate 360 degrees. Also a bendy wire in there. You can bend the tail into different positions if you like. And here is a quick comparison with the Amber Collection JP3 Male Raptor, and it's basically a night and day difference, which should be expected. This is a $15 figure versus a $30 figure. And, you know, as much as I hammered the Amber Collection during its time, the JP3 Raptor from that line is one of the best painted figures Mattel has ever done. This thing is actually a masterpiece with all the paint apps on it. And you're never going to get all these paint apps on a smaller figure like this, but I feel like they could add at least a couple more. This Raptor looks just so plain next to its Amber Collection counterpart. I think Mattel could have done a little bit better, to squeezed a little bit more paint on there and made it just look a little nicer. And now moving on with more comparisons. Here it is with the Hammond Collection JP1 Raptor. I still like the JP3 one better than the JP1 one. I just think, you know, the brown, you know, it's really nothing exciting. And here it is with the Hammond Collection Dilophosaurus and the previously reviewed Geosternbergia. And next up, here's another JP3 dino. Here it is with the Ceratosaurus, which is, I still consider, one of the best figures in the Hammond Collection. And, you know, what a time to be a JP3 fan. You know, we got the Ankylosaurus that came out. Still gotta get my hands on that one. They did announce a Corythosaurus. That figure's never made it. That species has never been in the Jurassic line. I'm really, really excited for that one. So yeah, if you're a JP3 fan today, this year is looking really, really good. And here it is with the Concavinator. And lastly, here it is with the Hammond Collection T-Rex. I guess we're getting another T-Rex this year. It's probably going to be the Buck Rex from the Lost World. Kind of disappointed we didn't see a Spinosaurus or Indominus Rex. I really hope Mattel doesn't release just one large Hammond Collection dinosaur a year. I just think that's a really bad business model, but still early. There could be more surprises in store for us in the near future. So final thoughts on these new Hammond Collection figures. Really love Muldoon. Best human figure in the line so far. The Raptor I do like, but you know, they could have done some things differently, like, you know, sharper paint apps on the face and a couple more paint apps throughout the body. It looks a little bland and gray. It just has that white stripe running through it. Just wish there was a little bit more color on it. But other than that, I do like the figure. I'm definitely going to pick up at least 2 more once they start showing up on Target. And like I said at the beginning of the review, I end up finding Muldoon at Target. You can probably walk at any Target and find tons of him and Rayandos hanging on the shelf. The Raptor I got from Big Bad Toy Store. Link is down below in the description. I don't think any of the dinosaurs have been found at Target yet. Maybe I heard a couple reports, maybe on the West Coast, but you know, Jurassic community, sometimes stuff isn't that reliable. I'm sure they're going to show up really, really soon. So that should do it for the review. I got some new Collect Day figures coming in, and maybe a Safari reveal. Shh, time will tell on that one. So as always, if you're enjoying the content on this channel, show your support by hitting that subscription button just below the video. Each subscription helps out the channel tremendously and is greatly appreciated. I'll see you guys for the next one.